And so we're recording. Oh, there's Kathy. Kathy. We'll do a short review for Kathy. Kathy, hi.
How are you?
How are you? Did they keep you waiting long?
Oh no, I was a little late myself.
Okay, very good.
How are you doing?
Much better, thank you.
Getting some energy back?
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm feeling. I'm on the go. I'm on the mend.
And are you
Good.
staying hydrated?
Oh yeah, I have to. But no, thank you so much. I'm feeling much better.
Well, today's lesson is on xerochilia, which is a medical term for dehydration.
Oh,
And I'm just going to review real quickly. Brian Davis, who's the lessons come from, says people ask him whether he plays with dry lips or wet lips, and he doesn't know how to answer them. He kind of plays in between. He thinks if his lips are too dry, they don't move as well, and if they're too wet, they move too much. So he likes being in between. But he also said that Donald Reinhardt, who is a famous trumpet instructor, insisted his students play with very wet lips, extremely wet lips. And Maurice Andre was a very famous trumpet player, liked playing with really dry lips. So he's not going to argue with either of them. But he says that you play better when you are hydrated. And he finds hydration very important. He says when the human body is 60 to 70% water, depending upon how old we are. If we're older, it has less water, and if we're younger, it has more water. And he says that if we are 3% low, then we get thirsty. And so if you're thirsty, then you're 3% low on your water supply. And he says that it only takes 1% to affect your performance, physical performance. So he always likes to hydrate before he plays and stay very full of water. He talked about that most people recommend 8 glasses of water a day, but it depends upon your physical size and your age, how much water you need a day. He drinks about 4 quarts of water a day, which I find a lot of water. And he says if you're drinking the recommended amount of water, you're going to find that it seems very high in amounts. So he drinks a lot of water to stay hydrated. And he says 4 to 5 liters per day, which ends up being about 4 or 5 quarts.
Yeah, pretty close.
If you don't know how much water, it's interesting to me that America is about only 4 countries that are still using our system of measurement, where all the other countries have gone metric. I loved it when I was in elementary school. It was first grade. They said, "Oh, we're going to switch over to metric in the
Right.
next year."
It's still waiting.
We never did. When I do 3D animation, I always use metric because it's so much easier to do the scaling by tens than to try to figure out inches to miles to whatever. So I always work in meters when I'm doing 3D animation. When I do 3D printing, I convert those to inches because inches seem better when I'm actually making something. But yeah, metric is so much better. Even the measurement for liquids is so much better. Even the coinage ends up being better than our, though the penny to 100 pennies to $1 is not too bad. But the English system, I had someone explaining it, and it made much more sense. So anyway, if you don't know how much water to drink, you can Google it and use your weight and your age, or you could consult your doctor. If you do not drink water regularly, the amount it will seem to be a lot of what they recommend. He didn't talk about other things. Caffeine will dehydrate you. Alcohol dehydrates you. So if you're just drinking a lot of alcohol, you should probably add more water to your system. So there are things like that that can dehydrate you. So I've been drinking a lot more water. So he says he had questions about lip balm also. He personally doesn't like using lip balm because if he stays hydrated, his lips don't seem to have the issues of dry lips or cracked lips. But he says if he does have a problem, if he's in a dry area, he'll put on a medicated lip balm at night, and that seems to cure the problems. And in the morning, rehydrate. He doesn't hydrate as much right before bed because then you have to get up and go to the bathroom a lot more. So that's what he's talking about, staying hydrating. If you stay hydrated, you don't seem to need lip balm as much. And okay, so he hydrates in the morning. So that's all about hydration. And the next one we goes to, which seems fairly obvious also. There it is. Let me switch my image. Do here. And he says, Y is for yuck if you don't clean your horn. And cleaning your horn seems to be a pretty obvious thing. The one thing that he recommended that I liked is he recommended these pull through where you pull them through, and they have sponges rather than the brushes.
Huh.
And this kit is called, let me look on the back of this page, Reka, R-E-K-A. And I found that this picture on the Musician's Friends site. I like Musician's Friends, but every once in a while they send you the wrong thing. And that bothers me. They tend to send you the right thing and say, don't worry about sending the other thing back. So I got a clarinet mouthpiece when I ordered a trumpet mouthpiece, and it was like,
That's a pretty major difference.
yeah, and but it was like a $60 clarinet mouthpiece. I just need to find someone who needs it. So I guess I can talk to Jonathan about it. My girlfriend calls Jonathan Mr. Tippy Tap because he's always tapping his feet and being happy up front there. No, I told him, he said, yeah, she can call me that. So
So Musician's Friends is a website?
it's a website, and that's where I found these. I was having a hard time finding them elsewhere. He said you could find them on Amazon, but I couldn't find them on Amazon.
Huh.
The reason he recommended the sponges is especially on your valves inside. And you can get these for euphoniums also, and for French horns. The euphonium ones are bigger, obviously. But he doesn't like using the brush on the inside of the valves, the holes of
like
the
it
valve.
either.
Yeah, he thinks that it will damage it, and if you get some scarring on those, it might make them so they don't move as well. So I'm going to get the sponges instead. I've always used the brushes, though. He says he has friends that clean very regularly, and he has friends that never clean their horns. He said he had one trumpet student that came in and his horn wasn't sounding well, and the student was complaining, and he had never cleaned his horn. And so, especially your mouthpiece, you can see a noticeable change in the sound if there's that gunge in your mouthpiece. And I find with cleaning the horn, and I'm sure you've all cleaned your horns, especially the leader pipe is the one that gets the most dirt and scum and the mouthpiece. But you do want to clean your horn. He recommends cleaning the horn once a month. I'm more of a maybe once every 3 or 4 months when I feel it's getting gunky. I almost think that if you have a new horn, which my horn is I'm not the original owner, that maybe an ultrasonic clean would really help the performance of the horn. I saw some ultrasonic cleaners that had a tray about this big, and I think for a trumpet and the trumpet parts, they were about $150. I almost want to buy one to maintain my horns. I won't right now because times are a little tight with this COVID, but later on. I did buy a tool that will fix your mouthpiece. This one was very bent, and you put it in there and it just straightens it out. And
That's
so,
good. That's
um,
good. That's a reamer.
yeah, reamer, and that tool I like. And if anybody needs it, it's made for a trumpet, but it certainly worked well on the trumpet mouthpieces to straighten them out when they got a dent. I was using a pencil and trying to make it
Yeah.
straighten out and stuff like that, but this works so much better. And I think it was like $15. There's another one for trumpets that is the bell shape, and you can put it in, it's metal, and then you can tap on it with a mallet and straighten out your bell if you really have bent your bell. And I was thinking it would be fun to have all those different tools. For the tuba, they have these big ball bearings, and they have a really strong magnet that you draw them through the
Right.
pipes and work out. And I thought that'd be fun to have them. I don't know if I'm really good at fixing instruments. I did solder one of my horns and did a very mediocre job. I would not trust me with your horns right now. I need to practice a little more. So I will on one of my older horns. Okay, so he's talking about with why yuck. And so he likes to do the ones that you draw through instead of push through. There's ones with wire brushes that you push through. And he likes the draw through and he likes the sponge better. Though I think in the regular parts of the horn, a brush is probably fine. And in the mouthpiece, you definitely need to use a brush on the mouthpiece. I don't think the sponge is going to work as well. Though I do use Q-tips every once in a while on it, and it works fine because the trumpet mouthpiece is not so deep that a Q-tip can't work. So he cleans his mouthpiece after every performance. And he says that's just good hygiene. I don't tend to do that. I probably clean my mouthpiece maybe every month or so. I clean it when I look in it and there's gunk. And so I think probably cleaning your mouthpiece after every performance makes sense. If you did that, the trumpet or the horn would not get as dirty as much. He says the horn is an enclosed, damp environment. It's going to grow crap in there. So we know that because we use our spit valves to empty it. To clean, he uses cold water and he uses dishwashing soap to clean it. He didn't have a recommendation for the dishwashing soap. I recommend Dawn. But he said do not use overly hot water when you rinse it out because the overly hot water can hurt your lacquer.
Right.
And I haven't heard that before, but my horns are pretty lacquerless anyway. So
Winsmith, Jim at Winsmith told me that. He said silver can take more heat, but he said lacquer, if it's cheap lacquer, it can cause it to change colors and lose some of its
things like that. Yeah, I noticed that when I was soldering some pipes back together. You definitely get that. I was using a heat sink, but you got to get it a little hot to solder it and or braise it. And so a lot of times those need to be refinished sometimes. So he said good hygiene for the mouthpiece and cut down. He also, he didn't say it, but I say it, if you eat, make sure you brush your teeth before you play, or if you can't do that, at least rinse your mouth out with water because you have to stay hydrated.
That's it. That's a serious water drinker there, man.
I have a drinking problem.
All right.
All right. So, let's see what else he says here. So he said he had one student that didn't clean his horn and he called it a horror show. So when they get severely dirty, it's a little harder to clean them also. So he likes to clean his every month and he likes to clean the mouthpiece every day. He said that they never taught him really any details out to clean the horn. Take the horn apart, use the draw-throughs to draw through the sponges and clean them. He says pull through. And then he has the long sticks with the orange sponges on the end, which you can use in the other pipes. He says areas where you can't draw the sponge through, sometimes the smaller curves, he just uses those sticks to get in there as best you can. And then he says when you're putting it back together, be careful not to damage the finish with too hot of water, and also not to use rough abrasives or brushes on your valve holes. And you want to clean your valve ports, and the holes in your valves, and you can use the larger orange sponge for that. Rinse, and he likes to air dry his horn. He stands it up on the valves where it's upside down and lets it dry on a towel. He says you can clean the horn in your sink or your tub if you want to, let it drain. But he says if you can't air dry your horn, he uses paper towels, and I don't think that's good. I think paper towels are a little abrasive. He says not to use them on your valves, but even on your horn's finish. I think microfiber cloths nowadays are very good, especially you want them to be clean and wipe your horn down if you can't air dry it. He uses a slide grease on your horns. He didn't like Vaseline, which is what we used to use in the drum corps.
Why?
It's a petroleum product, and I don't know, the product he used, I guess, wasn't a petroleum product. It was water-based. He likes a slide grease called Space Filler.
Base, B-A-S-E?
Space, S-P-A-C-E.
Oh,
Filler.
space filler.
Maybe not available anymore. He stockpiled a lot a long time ago.
Oh.
I don't know why the Vaseline would be bad. I don't think it's corrosive to the metal. He just recommended putting a little bit on the ends of the slides and pushing them in so you didn't get a over excess of that. Yeah, I didn't look up that space.
Vaseline. Once it gets warm, it can get inside the valve piston itself.
Oh, it can melt. Okay.
It'll make your oil sloggy.
I guess if you use just a little, you'd be okay.
Yeah.
I use the valve grease that comes with the cleaning kit. So he said valve oil to make sure that you oil all the part that goes into the valve area. He says you don't have to oil the smaller parts where the springs are. And he said when you're after cleaning to oil inside the valve casings also and put them together. He says that works. So that's what his thoughts were on cleaning. And I think the sponges are really good. I think most of us probably knew how to clean already, but maybe avoid Vaseline in all cases. So that's the lesson for the day. Now we just have, I think that's X, Y, and we just have Z left. Does anybody want to do a lesson on something? Maybe do 15 minutes, and I'll do Z for 15 minutes next time. Can be on any topic. The one thing I need work on is transposing music and music theory. And if someone wanted to do that, they could, or I could look it up and do a lesson on that.
Huh. Have to figure out a topic.
Anybody else want to do it?
Don't everybody talk at once.
Okay. I guess I'll look up transposing and I'll learn something about it. We'll talk about that next time. And we'll finish up with X. We may go back to A and B and just review those few lessons at the beginning.
I played tuba and sousaphone in high school, And you talk about cleaning a horn, you know, you come back after a long absence, like summertime or something, and yeah, the horn doesn't play well. And, you know, I found a baseball glove in my sousaphone, and another time I found a t-shirt. One guy found a dead rabbit.
Ew,
Oh,
gross.
Yeah, so
not good. Well,
obviously it was
if,
put there because there's no rabbits in the band room, you know.
well, if a rabbit jumped in, it might not be able to jump out.
Well, it was a pretty,
Set
yeah, I know. I think he was a plant.
up. Was he a nice guy or not?
What's that?
Was he a nice person? If he was a mean person, you can see maybe why he was set up.
Oh, I don't know. These are just somebody walks in the band room and sticks stuff in the tubas. They think it's funny.
Oh, that will do it. That'll do it.
Every
All
tuba
right.
player's got a story.
I used to have a contrabass bugle, and I donated it to the Kingsmen, but I really should have kept it. It would make a great planter.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, well, the bugles were in the key of G, and they only had two valves. Originally, they had no valves, and they went to one valve, then the two valve, then they went to three valves, and they were still in the key of G. The Marine Corps band still is in the key of G. They'll only order key of G because it projects so much better. But now all the drum, they don't even call them bugle corps anymore, have gone to trumpets and instruments in the key of B flat. It's really decreased their volume, and some of them even go to amplification where they have microphones and speakers, and I don't like it at all because on the field, when it's amplified, you can't tell who's playing. It used to be the soloist would play and you could look it directly at him, but when it's amplified, it's coming out of 4 different speakers. You have no directionality. The old drum corps, you could go like ours. We go da 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 da, go front and back with the sound, and it was more of a surround sound kind of feel, and they don't have that anymore. So, all right, I'm going to say goodbye, everyone.
All right, I've got a picture of a contrabass bugle.
Contrabass looked like a tuba, but you held it on your shoulder.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they were very heavy. Our contrabass players would hold them out like this as they marched in review at the end of the show. And so they obviously had to work their muscles up. Yeah, because I couldn't do it. I was so glad I played soprano, which is like a trumpet and very easy to hold and carry for a 16 minutes.
When I graduated high school, my left shoulder was twice as big as my right shoulder from holding the sousaphone all the time.
Yeah.
That'll do it. That'll do it. All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
it's
Doug.
nice having you back, Kathy.
Happy New Year.
Feels great to
All
be back.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Happy New Year.
Okay, so Monday would be, it's after New Year's. It's the 4th. So we'll see you on the 4th, okay?
Okay, good to see all of you.
All right, bye-bye.
Good to see you.
Bye-bye.